Hey everyone, joining us today for a one-on-one conversation is Noland Arbaugh, the first human to receive a Neuralink brain implant device, of course, from Elon Musk's Neuralink. Noland, what an awesome opportunity to have you on the show. Really grateful for your time. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, JD. I'm happy to be here.
Nolan, let's start with a bit of your personal story and your personal journey for anyone listening who might be a bit unfamiliar.
Yeah, so about 8 years ago, I was 22 years old and I had a spinal cord injury. I dislocated my C4, C5, just kind of popped out of place and popped right back into place. I did about as much damage to my spinal cord as you could possibly do. I like to say I do everything at 110%, and that includes, paralyzing myself. Is kind of weird as that may sound. I just like to joke about it a lot, but then about a year ago, I applied for Neuralink's in human trials. Had no idea what it was, but applied for it over the phone with one of my buddies, and by the grace of God, sort of just got selected. So I'm the first patient, first participant in the Neuralink trial, and got a BCI, brain computer interface. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And when was that procedure? And talk to me about some of the considerations. I'd imagine maybe a degree of skepticism or hesitancy to be willing to give this a shot. What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So I got the surgery a little over 9 months ago. From when I applied to when I got the surgery was about 3 or 4 months. It was, kind of a whirlwind. Like I said, I had no idea what Neuralink was when I applied, but I did my due diligence in those few months. I looked up everything there was under the sun about Neuralink. I read everything, I watched everything, and walked all of my family through kind of like what was going on, what I was, getting myself into sort of, and what they were going to have to deal with. I was completely at peace with all of it. I don't think there was ever a second when I doubted that I was going to be a part of this study, which a lot of people, kind of take pause at. They're like, are you sure? Like, it's brain surgery. Like, you might have been a little scared, right? And I never was. I was, just fully confident in all of the people who were doing the surgery, who were going to be kind of messing around in my head. And yeah, I was just excited to get started.
If you don't mind me asking, I'm sure people are curious, kind of where was the surgery and who were those key individuals involved who were responsible for making it happen for you?
Yeah. So the surgery was in Phoenix, Arizona. Kind of just randomly, the place was selected. The hospital was selected. It's Barrow Neurological Institute in Phoenix, Arizona. It was selected like a year before I even applied, and it ended up being about 2 hours from my house. So, like, what are the odds, right? And, the guy who did my surgery was a surgeon named McDougall, if you want to look him up. And, Neuralink obviously was a big part of this, but they also use what they call R1. I like to refer to R1 as Tiny Dancer. It's a robot that they built specifically for this surgery. And it was the first time that this was ever used in a human. The study is not only about whether or not the Neuralink is safe, the implant is safe, but if the robot is safe for the surgery as well. And the robot was amazing. The surgeon that was there in the room said that he had never seen a brain so untraumatized from a surgery. And that was all because of the robot. So, obviously Elon Musk is involved in all of this. So there's like a lot of hype around it, but there were a lot of hands involved, a lot of hands that are had a piece in this. I couldn't name all of them. There are hundreds.
How long was your surgery? And talk to me about any recovery that you had to go through in the hours or days afterwards.
Yeah, so the surgery was supposed to be between what they said, like 4 to 6 hours, and it ended up taking under 2. That's how amazing everything went. The robot was so fast, and they're planning on getting that down too. Their goal is to make the surgery under 10 minutes, which is just absolutely wild, but I think they're going to do it. Recovery was super easy. It was one of the easiest things I've ever done. I like to say that I went to sleep and woke up, and that was my part in all of this. Woke up with a chip in my brain, but surgery, post surgery at least, they left me in the hospital for 24 hours. And then they're like, all right, you're good to go. I was like, are you guys sure? Like, this is brain surgery. Like, keep me around for a bit longer and make sure I'm okay. They're like, nah, you're fine. They let me out. They gave me a prescription for some pain meds. I didn't take any of them, not even while I was in the hospital. Didn't even take a Tylenol. Just had to keep like some Aquaphor over the surgical scar on my head, which for those of you who don't know, Aquaphor is basically what you put over a tattoo while it's healing. So it was super simple. The head is one of the fastest healing parts of your body. So it went really well. I think about 10 days later, we were like good to go. It was pretty sweet.
Nolan, what does your day-to-day look like today, and in what ways does it differ from before you had the surgery 9 months ago?
I mean, I'm just capable of so much more than I was 9 months ago. I'm able to do just about anything anyone else can do on a computer. So I'm on my computer all the time. I'm on it right now, just kind of messing around on my Neuralink while I'm talking with you guys. And I do all sorts of stuff. I've tried to start applying for like different jobs in different places to go to school. So it's something that I never thought I would be able to do again. And it's given me a lot of hope. So I, get up, maybe like read my Bible. I do like some other personal development sort of things. I've been trying to learn some things, like relearn my math from the ground up, say, because if I go back to school, it's been a while. I feel like I need to study up on some things. I've been trying to learn languages. I learn like Japanese and French every day. I read books constantly. So like I'm reading some Brandon Sanderson right now. I'm reading some Jordan Peterson and all sorts of different things. So I'm just trying to better myself in so many different ways. And then when I have some off time, I play some video games. I do a few other things on my Neuralink, and these are all things that I've never been able to do. Like after my accident, I'm able to just communicate with people on such a deeper level. Whether that's texting, emails, setting up interviews and things, like doing all sorts of stuff. Just have a lot more hope than I did 9 months ago for what my life holds for me in the future,
Yeah, it sounds really incredible. Paint the picture for us of what you mean when you say you're messing around with your Neuralink. Help paint that picture for those of us to really understand. What does that look like for you in actual terms, kind of as you're sitting there in front of a computer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just moving the cursor around. I tend to do it as like not like a nervous habit, but, I have a cursor on the screen. So I'm constantly like tracing outlines of things on the screen. I'm moving the cursor around, like making sure I don't like click on anything I don't want to click on, and just kind of like swinging it around. And it's interesting because it's sometimes I forget that I'm doing all of this with my mind. Like it's just become so second nature to me. It's just like, yeah, this is what it is. But when people look at it, they're like, their minds are blown. I mean, they just can't understand. But yeah, I mean, right after I'm done with this, I'll probably quit the call with my Neuralink and I'll like close everything out and do all of this. So it's wild. It's just what it is now. It's who I am now, I guess.
What has most surprised you about the things that you can do day to day that maybe you were not expecting before you had the procedure, Nolan?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a lot of expectations going into the surgery and stuff. I didn't know what it was going to entail. I hadn't done like a ton of research into other BCIs. I hadn't like looked at the Utah array or anything along those lines, like what those guys were doing with it. So I didn't know like what it was going to be capable of. I didn't know what I was going to be doing with it. So, it's just, I didn't think I was ever going to be able to play a video game again, even with the Neuralink. I was like, yeah, what are the odds I'm going to be able to play like Civilization, like Civilization 6, like Sid Meier's, or some different games that I play. I didn't think that was going to be possible. I didn't think I was going to be able to play, like some .io games or things of that nature. I mean, it's just crazy. what this thing is capable of. And for it to be like the first iteration and for it to be, so young and be able to do this, I just can't imagine what it's going to be able to do in the future.
Elon Musk himself, of course, is also a big gamer. I wonder, any conversations personally between you and Elon Musk in the process, either before the procedure or since?
Yeah, I talked to him right before the procedure. He was supposed to be there, but he had a malfunction with his plane, so he ended up just FaceTiming me. Had like a little quick talk on the phone. I met him right after the procedure. We talked after I was out of my surgery. And then I also met with him when I was in Austin at the Gigafactory, and we had a nice conversation there, just talking about like where this is going to go, my role in it, his role in it, and like other things that he's doing. I mean, I'm not just interested in Neuralink. I love like all of his other stuff. And so we're talking about like SpaceX a bit and the Starship launches and stuff, which are just so much fun. So yeah, we've chatted a bit.
Well, to the point about his other companies, and I agree with you. I think all of our viewers do. Starship launch is like just the absolute coolest, especially the last test flight that they had.
Man. Yeah.
But my producers and I had read this, that you had an idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, to kind of harness the power of a Tesla Optimus robot as a kind of personal caretaker of sorts. What was that idea like, and how was that received by the companies?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that as a quadriplegic, it's always on the front of my mind, finding some way to be more independent and seeing the advancements they're making with robots and other things. It's hard not to make that connection of having a personal robot that would be able to essentially be like a personal nurse for me 24/7 and to be able to do things for me that other people do on a daily basis. And I have to find some way to like afford, whether it's out of pocket or through insurance. And if I just had a robot, then I mean, it would be so much easier. And it seems like the companies are on board maybe sometime in the future. It's not something that is really in the works at this point because it's still an FDA study and there's a whole lot about this I could go into about like paying a fair share, like market price for an Optimus robot to give to me, and like what does an Optimus robot even cost? Like how do you put a price on that, And since it's not a publicly traded company, well, it is, Tesla is, but like since the robot isn't a publicly traded like piece of equipment or machinery yet, like how do you put a price on that and stuff? And so it's interesting. We're working on it. We'll see if there's that connection at some point in the future, but I think everyone like is excited about making that a reality. If not for me, then for people in the future, for sure.
And no doubt you've had just an incredible amount of conversations with the whole Neuralink team. Talk to me more about your understanding about what the company is looking to achieve elsewhere, either with this device or any of the initiatives that the company or Elon Musk has spoken about, and what most excites you about the future of Neuralink beyond what the opportunities that you personally have been able to receive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just the first part of all of this. I am just a cog in the machine of Neuralink. I think that, it was essential for there to be a participant one, obviously, but I don't see myself as anything other than just another piece of the puzzle. I know that they are planning on doing a lot with Neuralink, with helping a lot of people with disabilities, first and foremost, but then that's not where it stops. I mean, obviously, this is something that they want to make publicly available to everyone in the world, and they're going to build a clinic in Austin. That's the plan, where people can go in and they can get a Neuralink same day sort of thing. They'll be able to go in and someone will operate the robot, and you won't have to have like a whole surgical team maybe, as intense as it was for me where there were hundreds of people. You would just have kind of small teams and you would go in and get a Neuralink and be able to go out. And I think ultimately it's going to be something a lot like Alexa, where Alexa is Alexa compatible with, oh, she just picked me up right there. It's like all devices are compatible with like Amazon products at this point. And I think it's going to be like that for Neuralink, where companies are just going to start making devices Neuralink compatible. That is something I definitely see in the future. I know that they're going to solve a lot of problems, and this thing is going to, be able to connect and combine and integrate with a lot of things. So I think this is just the beginning, and this company is just the first step of all this, but it's going to be huge. The next 50 years, I can't imagine BCIs not being everywhere,
Neuralink announced a second patient has received the telepathy chip just a few months ago in August. Have you been in contact with that person, I wonder?
I haven't. They haven't reached out, and Neuralink and Borrow, they're not allowed to make that connection because there are some FDA considerations there. They're not allowed to do a couple of things. But I look forward to talking with anyone in the future that is a participant who wants to reach out to me. So anyone out there who is listening to this, if you are so lucky to get an implant and be part of the study, reach out and we'll chat and we'll pick each other's brains, so to say.
Fair enough. Nolan, what else do you think could be on the horizon for this device, and any kind of new upgrades or innovations that you are expecting?
Yeah, they're planning on increasing the number of threads for sure. I have 64 threads. They're planning on making that larger, whatever they decide to do with that, how many numbers they're going to go up to, but implanting it in different parts of the brain. I know that blind sight is something that they're working on to help people that are blind, but that's just the beginning. I know that the electrodes in my implant are like in the 1,000, like 1,024 or something. They're planning on going to 3,000 and 6,000 and 10,000. There really isn't like an upward bound for that. They can get to like 100,000 or even more, and they're implanting it in whole different parts of the brain. And so this is, helping people with disabilities is kind of just the start. It's first with like quadriplegics, paraplegics, then people with ALS, people that are blind. But the more we do it, the more we learn. It can help, all sorts of different things. You can work on like Alzheimer's and dementia. You can work on things like, I don't know, as much as we learn, amnesia, things of that nature. But I know that they are planning on connecting this with sorts of different devices. So I got like phone control the other day. So I know that that's going to be something that the Neuralink is going to be able to control. And who knows if Elon Musk comes out with like a Tesla phone or something like that, like it'll be able to connect to that. Like, why wouldn't he make all of his devices compatible? So I think that it'll be compatible with maybe Tesla devices, with the phone, the robot, the cars, all sorts of different things. I know that they have other things in store. I can't really talk about some of the things that they are going to do because I'm on like the back end of things. I'm on the inside. I can't just start telling everyone all their secrets, but I know that they have plans, and I know that this is like, it's not even been a year since I got it. This is early days. So look forward to a lot more advancements with this. I know that there are big things coming.
Of course, after the results of the presidential election this week, we all know Elon Musk figures to be far more involved, I think, at the highest levels of the federal government than he has ever been before. Do you have any sense of maybe what this new look government may kind of open up in terms of new opportunities, given Elon Musk's imminent influence over federal government, either regulatory policy or what that could look like, having that access for him personally to maybe cut regulations or be able to expand this technology to new people?
Yeah, I think ultimately it's just going to be easier for him to get approval for things and be able to get his agendas sort of in place and accepted at a higher level, because a lot of what he has to go through are a lot of, regulatory committees and things like that. And if he's working with that kind of hands-on in the government, then I think it's just going to be easier. He won't hit as many roadblocks. I think there won't be as much red tape maybe. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I'm not sure if he's even going to, be a part of the government at all, if he's going to get like a cabinet position, if he's going to get, some sort of like regulatory position or something. I imagine he would. I don't see why he wouldn't, but that's to be seen. And it just depends on where he gets placed and what he's able to actually affect. I think that it definitely is going to be to his advantage to be a part of this. I think that what he has done was definitely one of the most savvy business moves you could have possibly done. If that's what he was trying to do, I'm not sure. I know that he is very into just the political sphere in general these days. So maybe that was his goal. But, you might have some dual motives there. And I think it'll work out great for him.
Finally, Nolan, for anyone out there who might be skeptical over this type of technology, who may learn what Neuralink is all about and say, I don't know, how I feel about that. What is your message to everyone out there, having been the historic first recipient of a Neuralink brain implant device?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, my immediate goal is to help people with disabilities. So if you don't have a disability, then this might seem a bit more like far-fetched. You might say, well, I don't have anything wrong with me, so there's no reason for me to get it. I've gotten that a lot. I asked people on X at one point, how many Neuralinks would you get? Or would you get a Neuralink or something? People said, well, no, because I don't have a disability, so I don't need one. But that's not what this device is ultimately going to be for. That's, again, my immediate goal is to help people with disabilities, because I think that's my place and my role in all of this. But it is going to be publicly available at some point to everyone. The layman out there, the normal person, the able-bodied people, whatever you want to call it. And I don't believe that people really understand. They can't really appreciate what this device is capable of at this point and how much more it's going to be capable of when they get it. I mean, you think of where the internet started and where it is today, where Apple started and where it is today. I don't think anyone could have predicted those sort of advancements. And I don't think we can fully grasp or understand where this is going to be in 5 or 10 years. And I think it's going to be really, really cool. And I think people are going to be much more receptive of it as we get, the surgery down and the all of the, kinks out of this device at this point, that are in the device at this point. So there's not a lot to fear on the surgical side. I know it's brain surgery, but the advancements that they're making are going to make this so simple and so safe. And then there's not really, I get a lot of questions and comments about being hacked or different things that are happening on the brain, like reading and writing and things like that. It's not as sci-fi as people might expect. It's not, something that you're going to be able to control people's thoughts and, shoot things into people's brains and things like that. I don't think that I know that it's not possible right now. It's just not capable of it. In the future, that's something that's going to have to be worked on and understood. And maybe at a government level, there need to be regulations like they're doing with AI and stuff. But I just think it's such an amazing technology. And I think people really should support the sort of BCI space race that's going on right now and really get into this sphere, because it's a lot like AI. And while there are AI concerns, it's just another tool for us to use. And humans are so ingenious, and they're so, capable of using this for good. There are always going to be evil people in the world that do evil things with it. Just like there are evil things that people do with the internet or other pieces of technology. But the good far outweighs the bad. And I think people need to understand that. There's so much more to this than just what I'm doing with it. And there's so much more that people will be able to do with it. And I think it's going to change the world. So I really hope people accept this and get behind it and support it as much as they can.
Nolan, there's no doubt you are just an awesome dude, and you are undoubtedly a huge inspiration to so many people out there. Man, I am so grateful for your time today to give our viewers and listeners this awesome context over the history that you've been a part of. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope you'll rejoin us for a future conversation, and best of luck with everything, Nolan.
Yeah, absolutely, JD. I'd love to come back. Thanks for having me, man.